evening, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program. Yep, we're back again. We're a little bit earlier tonight as well. And here we are, just standing in the middle of nowhere. Now, if you've been watching the clock, we have started, like there's a little gap here. That's because during the day, I was just fixing some things up, and I got to do that in my lunch break. And so yeah, what did I do? I set up these guys, so we're now proliferating down this line, all the way down to our Casimir crystals. I also expanded out our carbon nanotubing here to be a little bit more, just because we weren't keeping up with production needs really. I went over to our other system and topped up the battery for transportation. And yeah, just did a little bit here and there just to brush things up, basically make it nice and clean, so we could do the interesting stuff in the episodes as opposed to me kind of doing maintenance sort of things. So tonight, what are we going to do? We are going to set up these guys, plane filters or planar filters, filter thingies. So we'll be setting up the production of those to eventually make quantum chips. And those quantum chips will be important for our green science. We'll then also need to go and make some more graviton lenses, which means more strange matter. Sorry, just I ate too fast tonight, I think. Anyway, and yeah, green science or gravity matrices will have two purposes. One, for research, which is, important. But two, they will be a more efficient way of getting space warpers as well. Because, 1-to-1 for graviton lens or a 1-to-8 conversion ratio here, which is, much better. But to get there, we're going to need some other things first. Now, the first thing we are going to do is, I wish there was a mass delete button somehow, it would be good. Can I chain dismantle? Yeah, that doesn't help. It'd be nice if I could just kind of click it to hold or something to be able to do like an area. Devs, if you're listening to me, please, mass delete buttons. Oh wait, hang on. Maybe I do. Oh. Shift, expand. Mass delete buttons. It's a little bit more efficient. Excellent. Devs, I take it all back. You're wonderful human beings. Everything I said about you is wrong. So we're basically clearing off this. We've got better ways of getting power now, as lean and green as this may be. And we want the land. We want, whoa, whoops, pressing buttons. We want the land for things. Show how far this goes actually. Hang on. Can we get some light here? Yeah, I think I just made this isolated sort of power sort of thing down here, so I might as well just get rid of all of it. Alright, so we've cleared off some space. Now, one thing I do want to do straight away is I'm going to want that crude oil at some point, so we are actually going to put down a seep or an oil extractor right away. Just drop it there, put this guy in the middle, and run it straight in, alright? Fill up with oil. Not sure I can really make it more efficient than that. Well, space space efficient. I could make it more efficient by actually running it straight into some kind of processing. Okay, so for planar filters, we have our Casimir crystals, but we will need titanium glass first. Now for this we need titanium, we need glass, and we need water. So, starting us off, we're going to start with the glass production. Titanium we can import from elsewhere, water we can extract from the sea. Now we have some stone up here, we also have a little bit of stone just over the horizon there, and we also have this chunk here which we can use for proliferation, because I feel like my original proliferator sort of section was maybe getting a little bit, what's the word, overused. Yes, that's right. We're using a lot of it. So, starting us off though, we're going to get some glass production happening from the stone here. Now we do have stone being imported to this planet, so that is also an option for us. But what we want to do is use up our local supplies, because we might as well, and it is ultimately more power cost effective to go with local rather than importing it across planetary or interstellar bodies. I'm just going to fill in this sort of area. I don't want to fill in too much because eventually we're going to want some water too, although we've got plenty of access for water too, so yeah, it's not too bad. Now, glass production. Never really paid too much attention to it. Every 2 seconds it's going to create one, but it is going to need 2 a second as well. So our input for this is basically 1 a second to keep things running. So let's see, let's think this through. How much titanium glass do we want to make? We're going to need 2 every 5 seconds. This is coming down to awkwardness as well. I'm thinking fill in this whole area and we just make as much damn glass as we possibly can, because then we're not in titanium glass, and then we're not going to probably run it out, right? And we can do more sciencey mathy things later. Okay. Wait for the autosave, there we go. So if our input is 15 a second, or 30 a second, sorry, that's effectively 15, I think, no, it's 30 of these that I can run, right? Let's just double check that assumption. So every 2 seconds it's going to produce 1, but it needs 1 a second to function. So we can do 15 aside for each 30 input. Right, so that is what we're going to do. We'll run you from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, so that will mean that when we mirror it, like so, we have 30 there. So that's going to produce 30 a second of glass. So it's probably more glass than we're gonna need for this. also going to want belts. I mean sorters, not belts. Sorters, belts, same difference really. Alright, cool. Then we'll want our recipe for glass here. We'll also want it on the other side. Run it down. And do the same. Oh, can't do that last one. It's fine. Output and input will just reverse you slightly and set you to be glass. Cool. Alright, so this is going to be our glass production for glass titanium. We shouldn't need nearly as much as I've just laid down. If we do, then that's a scary thing. We're also going to just hook it up to power now so we can get started. Let's watch how this goes. Yeah, we've got all these imports and we've got a solid line coming out. It's backing up. That's a good sign. Oh, happy with that. Beautiful. Okay, so there's our glass production done. Now, I feel like the output here would be an excellent point to start proliferating things. And then the other things that we're going to need for this glass titanium is water and titanium. Now, what I'm thinking is that we want stuff to come in. Now, we also want a proliferation sort of set up here as well. Now, proliferators are made in assembling machines. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is our first line. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is our second line. And we're going to need 2 lots of things. So this one is just going to be the Mark 1 spray paint. And all it needs is coal. Right. Now this one is going to be the Mark II and it wants diamonds. It is an expensive one. Now in order to produce diamonds, our recipe is 1 to 1. And to produce these we need 2 every 2 seconds, right? And in order to do these every second, we're going to need 1 diamond. Need 10 to supply this, and that is what we're going to set up here. We're going to have one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're just going to run that down once and then do the same. Sir, will be diamonds. You, sir, will be energetic graphite. Now, our coal is, of course, going to come in from this direction. I'm going to go like that, and then like that. And I can just copy that across again. Our diamonds will come out the top. Up and about. Our coal is going to come in this direction, and then going to output these guys to be like so, and then we'll output these out the side as well. Neat. Finally, this will need an extension out, this will need an extension in, and an outie. Copy that down, and an innie and an outie. Get it? It's like belly buttons. Run that up. Run this down. Once you've made this and worked it out, like it's a lot less challenging to do it again. Probably the 3rd time that I've done this. Hey, come on, come on. I know I can get you to be blue and just that extra one. Work with me. Fine. Fine. That. That. Do it. Oh yeah. And this is just going to be an even split. 3 I'm going to run off to this direction, 3 I'm going to run up to here, and that will be that. Nothing's fancy. Not even going to try and combine the belts together. Hey, come on, click. There we go. I like so. Autosave happening, yeah, thanks. I think I'm going to reduce the frequency of autosave at some point when you get a little bit later on, then, you know, it's got to think harder and harder every time it wants to autosave. Up you go. There we go, guys. Just got to power it up. There we go, now we got spray painters. Too easy. Otherwise known as proliferators, of course. Now, immediately we're going to run this. What do we want to do? Actually, let's do it while we can, as neat as possible. I promise. Well, I can actually, yeah, I can promise this. It's not going to stay this neat. It never does. Alright, so that's our first little chunk of woods done. And then I feel like this is a good place to make titanium glass here. Right, so we are going to start off with one of these bad boys over here. And our titanium glass is going to need titanium. Who would have thunk? So you're gonna local demand remote storage. You are going to have an output of titanium. And the very first thing that's going to happen to any of the titanium that comes out of your ore is it will be proliferated. Now, we will also need, look at it all coming in. Probably didn't need to fill it up, but hey, what the hell. Might as well be full. We're also going to need water, was where I was going. I don't think I've built pumps, which is maybe a trifle silly of me. What do I need for pumps? You know, actually, I know that we've got a heap of pumps over here that we're not using anymore. Like way too many pumps as well, even for when we were using it. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much for the water pumps. Reuse, recycle, people. Okay, so that goes over to miners that's stored in. Naturally, water mining. 1, 2. Really? Come on. Come on. Come on, let me. Fine. We'll make you line up. 3, 4. Okay. Now, they will produce, I can't remember how many per second. Does it tell me? 70 a minute, so roughly 1 a second. Is it? Hang on. Yeah, 1 a second. No, 6 a second. Yeah. Oh, 7 a second, really. Okay, so that gives me what? 28. 28 a second. Now, for my titanium glass, every 5 seconds I'm going to need 2. So it's 1 every 2.5 seconds. Oh god, this will just be horrible math. Maybe we shouldn't bother attempting it. Should we just run it in there so it gets a bit of storage? Yeah, let's do that. We have the opportunity for interstellar water transport if we ever need it. Possibly we will, so who knows, maybe this is a brilliant idea. You're just going to sit as storage for the time being though. Actually, you could supply locally if it's ever needed. I feel that that's a possibility. Okay, so the next thing is that we're going to output water here. And you guessed it, we're going to proliferate that water. Tasty, tasty proliferated water. And then the final thing we're going to need is all this lovely glass up here. Now we've got a full tasty belt of highly proliferated glass, which actually just sounds dangerous now that I say it. It's like you're going to cut yourself on it. Okay. Run up here. Help it work. Run some power while I'm around. Yeah, I'm going to need power down there. Power to the people. I think that's a new game, actually. We also want to run that proliferation line across. Alright, so we are going to run it like so. Away you go. Let's do that. Hang on. Hey, you should be running power somewhere. We've been tricked. There we are. There we go. Cool. Alright, so we've got water outputting here. It will eventually fill up, of course. These are going at 70 a minute. As fast as they can go, basically. Next up, we want our titanium glass factories. So, let's do the good old work backward. How many do we want to make sort of thing? So I'm just searching for a piece of paper at the moment that I am happy to use. You know what? You're good. Let's repurpose this paper. Okay. So every 5 seconds we're gonna make 2. So therefore, get this through every 1 second. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna make 1 every 2.5 seconds. And that times by 5, so that's divisible by 5, so we're gonna make 0.2 a second with one of those. So let's pretend for the moment that we need an awful lot of this, which I think, I'm not sure we do, but let's pretend for a second that we do need an awful lot of this. And we want to make 12 a second. So a full grain belt of it, which is, you know, not huge, but it's going to be huge. So to make 1 a second, we need 5. So to make 12 a second, we're going to need 60. Oh, this just expanded very quickly indeed. Hence all this room. So if we are making 12 a second titanium glass, all right, 12 a second titanium glass equates to we need 2 every 12 seconds. So that's one every 6 seconds to make these sort of things. Yeah, that could get huge too. Do we really want to go for 60? Oh man. Our Casimir crystals though, right? Our Casimir crystals are making one every 4 seconds, which means one of these runnings equals what, 3 of these. Right? And how many a second am I making of Casimir? Let's just quickly go look at that. Lots. So 24, 48. That'll be 48 factories. So divide by 4 equals 10, 12 a second. Yeah, we're making 12 a second of Casimir crystals. So, in order for that to make sense, we're going to need double the amount of these to be, you know, doing our full load of Casimir, making as many plane fielders as possible. Because we will need double the glass. Every 5 seconds. Hang on, let's just think that through. So if I make 60 of these, then I'm going to make 120 every 5 seconds. So divide 125 20 by 5, and we got what, 10, 20, 24. Yeah, hang on, something's wrong with my math somewhere. Right, so if we make 24 of those, then it would make, yeah, definitely, my math is wrong, hang on. If we make 60 of them, yep, then every 5 seconds we're making 120. Yeah, live math, I agree, Kestrel. It's horribly scary. When you hear this person who's meant to be doing this and they're not making sense. Right, calculator on the phone's coming out. I'm thinking I'm mucking up here somewhere, right? So, if we make 60 factories, and every 5 seconds we're making 2, so that's 120 every 5 seconds. Divide that by 5, that is 24. So that would essentially be 24 a second, which is, you know, not what I want. I actually want to make 30 of these to make 12 a second, I think. Well, that's what I was initially proposing. But with my Casimir crystals, every 4 seconds I'm making 1, right? And so I have 48 of Casimir crystal production facilities. And so divide that by 4, I'm making 12 a second. Yeah, okay. Yep, so equal number of glass, I need to make 30 factories. But, given that I need 2 titanium glass per 1 Casimir crystals, this is going to be a massive plane field factory. That does mean that I need to produce 60 of these factories. Right, we're good. We are set in our purpose, and oh god, this is going to be huge. And I'll probably need more miners. I haven't even thought about the inputs yet. But that's okay, we're just going to leap into it, and it's going to work out fine. Alright, so 60 of these. I could just do 10 rows of 6, I guess. Or no, I could do 5 rows of 12. Oh, and we got someone who wants me to become famous. That's very kind of you, guy, but I'm not interested in what you're selling. I wonder if I can just drop people out of chat. Gonna block him out. Thank you for the first time chat, but you're just selling followers, which I'm not interested in. You're gone. Okay, so yeah, 5 rows of these bad boys. We might as well use a space here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cool. Yoink you in like this. I'm just going to set up my inputs or my belt kind of structure, and I'll worry about where exactly these inputs should be diverted to and how I split them off a little bit later. It'll probably end up being fairly spaghettified, but that's okay. My actual outputs, I'm thinking my planar filter production will go down this way, so I actually am going to run it off down that direction. So, glass can run that way. And then it can hit proliferators down this way as well when we finally output. So just run that slightly further. Go to production and put that on the end. Okay, so that looks like a fairly good blueprint for me. Actually, the final thing that I need is actually just setting up the inputs 2 of everything, so it doesn't really matter in any particular order. So 1, 2, 3, and then the output like that, and then set the recipe to titanium glass. Run it down like this. Go to our blueprint mode. Just highlight down. Titanium glass times 12. Save, and then we're gonna double click on it to use it again, and we're gonna start placing it down. Now I haven't placed power, so we'll just leave a little gap in case, well, I'm leaving a little gap for many reasons, partially in case I've stuffed up somehow. Always a good idea. Can we get this last one? I think we can. The concrete splat on the ground is there's a trick with the foundations. So you can make them bigger, so that you just go like that and it will put down a huge amount of foundations. That uses a lot of foundations though. So if you're filling in water, if you just go down to a 1x1 square, you can just kind of click to fill in water, and it's a lot more, it's a lot cheaper basically. So that way I'm kind of skimping on the need to put down huge blocks of foundations. It's not as pretty, however, and you get that kind of splatter everywhere where I've just clicked around to try and fill in that water. But it's particularly helpful when you're starting off and you don't have that much steel and you've got these really inconvenient bits of water or gaps that you need to fill in. Granted, I can probably increase my limit and not have too much trouble. Ah, there we go. Yep, it helps reduce the demand for it. But if you want, I guess, if you want the cosmetic effect, you're going to have to use copious amounts of concrete. But if you're just trying to fill in bits to make things work, then yeah. Alright, so here's our glass line. How much glass are we making again? I think we're making, what, 15 a second? Yeah, we're making 15 a second of glass. So let us work out our actual inputs here. So every 5 seconds for one of these, we're going to need 2 glass. And that's the same for everything else. And so we have 60 of these factories now. So therefore, every 5 seconds, we're going to need 2 glass. No. Yeah, hang on. I've just repeated myself. It's getting towards the end of the week. Okay, so every 5 seconds we've got 60 of it, so every 5 seconds we're going to need 120 glass, which means divided by, I think, hang on, have I got this right? 60 factories, we're going to need 120 glass every 5 seconds. Yep, that just makes sense. So therefore 20 divided by 5 gets us back to 24. A second is the amount of glass that we're going to need. So I'm not going to quite keep up with the glass factory up here. We will need a second or some other thing. Now I know that my inputs was exceeding my demand here as well, so I could just set up a second glass factory up there. But 24 a second is our total inputs for all 3 types here, which is good because we're using 30 a second bandwidth. Belts were the word. Okay. So that gives us a few options here. We could just snake the whole thing down, and that will save us on spaghetti on the left-hand side. Or we can try and do some stuff with splitters here. I'm inclined to go splitters. Let's just see if I can continue on with my neatish sort of approach. Maybe. I might have cut this all too close. Alright, so if we... you here... Nah, it's not going to work because it never does, because you can't run it like across through here. So if I try and run something here, it just goes red because that's a reserve sort of spot. It's like a spiky shape. Yeah. Or that's going to be the end, right? So it doesn't actually matter. What we can do is, because I'm going to need an initial split. We're going to go the snake approach. All right. So up we go like so, and then down. And we're going to do the same here. And we'll do the same and here. Alright, hey, why aren't you? There we are. Much better. Alright, so that'll run down to the end here. Now we know that these guys are going to need to be proliferated. So let's set that up first so that we have our top belts kind of done. so that will get everything proliferated on the outputs. We're going to go down a level. Take it to about here, and then tell it to start going up. Come across. And then back down. We'll repeat that same pattern. So down first, then up slightly further down, across, back down, and then across, up, down, and around. Now, of course, I'd have initially assumed everything was coming in from that direction, so that's not going to work here. Instead, need to run them down like so. And then we're going to go up to this point. We're going to go up to this point. Oh, no, that's too high, too high. Quick, before it catches up. Right. Then, like so. Like so. Alright, so next line of snake going on. I hope I'm right about my math here as well. Just had this thought, then it's like, what if I'm wrong? Then, you know, I'm gonna have to redo all these belts. I know, we could do stackers. I think I'm just being stubborn now in resisting doing that. That and I haven't, actually, we should, that's a thing I should do, is just, is set it up so that my mole do have stackers, so when I do need them, I actually have them. So hey, let's add that onto the to-do list tonight. We'll finally actually start using stackers. But in the meantime, I'm still going to do this spaghetti just because I don't want to have to split things. Thank you. I think I have beautiful spaghetti as well. Actually, this is not too bad. It actually is, you know, reasonably neat. I think so anyway. The bad spaghetti's on the Molten Planet, on the Green Motor Factory, is horrible. Alright. So, final thing that we want to do here is just, we don't even need to go up for this one. And that runs everything we need in. Now all we need is power. Of course, somewhere for it all to all go will be helpful, but you know, one thing at a time. I do want it to start proliferating as soon as possible, actually. Is that I didn't need the gap. And that looks like everything is powered, just eyeballing it. Now, originally, I said that I'm probably going to need more glass, right? Because we're producing 15 a second. But let's think this through. Because we're proliferating this glass. Which means we don't, well, Does it mean we don't need as much of it, or it just produces extra? I think it means it produces extra. Yeah, extra products. 20% extra products. So if I proliferated the input over here, 20% extra would be another 2.5 output on our glass. So instead of 15 a second, that would be 17.5 a second. We would still need more. Yep. There's no getting around it. We will need another glass factory. That's alright, because we have a beautiful template for a glass factory right here. So here's my speckled approach again. Should be roughly what I need. There we are. Use it now, because I just want to copy this one. Really? Please? I haven't seen that error before. I think it's because I'm copying it from... Yeah, I think it's the cross... whatchamacallit? Equatorial boundary. It is? Too close. Yeah, fair enough. So let's try that for third and hopefully final time. Set. Grab you and only you. You're gonna try and... Nope, you aren't. Good. Drop it there. Yes. Massive overkill here. Or you don't actually need this much glass, but hey, better more than too little. I may end up running the glass off, or the excess glass off somewhere else. Now, as a result, we have the sort of this situation here. So what we're going to do is just make sure that's 2 belts the input, therefore 2 belts worth of output. Then on our output, 15 a second, right? So 15 a second on each means to a full blue belt. So if I connect it back in here, then it will run through the proliferator, or all of it will. Yeah, it was tropic. Thank you. Equator being further south, the tropic being the difference. I forgot to connect that up too, so let's fix that now. Spray painting all around. Excellent. Okay. So with all this cool stuff, how many factories are we going to be making for planar filters? Because we have 30 odd. We have 60 of those. I think I worked it out from the Casimir crystals earlier, actually. So our Casimir crystals, we have 2448, right? And then we know that one will feed, one Casimir crystal should feed, I think it was 3 of these or 4 of them. Because 12 seconds, 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So for every Casimir factory we made, we can produce 3 of these. So 48 times 3 is what? 96. Oh god, this is going to be, again, ridiculously huge to the point where I'm not sure I need this much. Or I'm going to have to expand out my processing plant for this. But let's just double check this, because my math is horrible in my head. 48 times 3 is 144 of these. 144 plain filter factories. That's ridiculous. Which means an awful lot of quantum chips in the end. It's 144 of those. Yeah, I know, right? 144 of these factories would produce how much a second? So 144 divided by 12 equals 12 a second. So we would have 12 a second planar filters. And then for our quantum chips, we're gonna want basically every 6 seconds it's gonna need 2, so every 3 seconds it's gonna need 1, right? Every 3 seconds it needs 1. So let's work this out. Or rather, if we make 3 of them, it will need 1 a second. So that means that we could make 36 quantum chip factories out of that 144 factories, or 144 planar. So yeah, the 144 actually sounds pretty reasonable to only just end up with 36 quantum chip factories. Alright, let's go collect some more factories, probably some more belts from our mall. Thank God we're doing this on our home planet. How are we going on power? I imagine I'm going to start really chewing through the power soon. But let's pick up some stuff. Alright, so from here... Oh look, we've got all this water too. Oh wait, no, that's not what I do. Delete. Just get rid of the litter. I'm not even sure my inputs for water is actually going to keep up there actually. Because I'm definitely not mining enough water over there, so I'll expand that out. Our titanium should keep up though. I'm pretty sure. Oh, wrong belts. Don't want those nasty tier 2 belts. You know what? Let's just fill this up. And we'll put a reserve of about halfway. And then do this sort of same so we don't hit sort of roadblocks. Because we're going to need an awful lot of these. Probably another chunk of these too. Get rid of that in excess, get rid of that in excess. I'll grab another, fill up on 1,000. Okay. 144 factories coming up. This is not what I expected when I started this. I thought it would be much smaller. I think this space is going to be it. You know what? I think because this is so epic, it deserves a proper base. So let's go fill up on this. Yeah, it's going to be easy peasy once I blueprint it. Once I worked out the lines and that sort of thing, then it'll just be copy paste from there. Pretty much pave the ocean. What do we got here? Can we color things? What's the difference? Just slightly different colors, maybe. Okay. Well, 10 by 10. Here we go. Is going to be the way to go. I was going to try and do it in neat little squares, but I'll just clean up the edges. It's a good thing I've got excessive amounts of soil pile. There's cover. Oh, yeah, lack of items. So as soon as you do that, bleh. Maybe that was a mistake after all. Oh well, we'll start up the top. Did I really do like 3,000 squares then? I do this, yeah. Okay, it must have been. Alright. Now, for all this to work out, I know that I can have pretty much one line of Casimir crystals, I'm pretty sure. I think, yeah. Because even though I've got 48 of these, I'm only producing 12 a second. And then for our titanium and crystal, I've got what? An output, we're producing 60 of them. I've got 60 factories, so 24 a second must be our input. So either way, I should be able to use should being the operative word, should be able to use a single belt to supply all these plane filters. So we don't really need to do anything particularly fancy in terms of laying this out. We just need quantity. So let's say we start here. Oh, we're going to need outputs, obviously. Start at the corner, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That will give us 12. Just thinking this through. We're making 144. So we could do 12 rows of 12. And that will give a little bit of a box. And I've just paved all this pit for no particular reason. Oops. We're going to need 2 lines of input. line. It's going to end up with towards our quantum sort of things. I could end up putting my quantum factory over here and then just import the Casimir crystals. Actually, that seems like not an unreasonable sort of thing to do. Alright, so our output lines will run along here again. I say again, we'll run along here, and then we'll have a proliferator. Then you're going to be planar filters. We need input, and then input, and then output. Do that. And then we're also going to have another output line here. I hate it when that does that. Okay, and we'll put another proliferator at the end. And then we're going to tell these guys to do its spaghettification. Rather, we'll go down to here and then up and across. I could just kind of flip these around as the other thing and then inlay it, but I don't think I will. I'm going to do this and mirror it like so. Then down. Like that. Then along. Yeah, I like it. Alright, so we're going to blueprint it. And we're going to call it Planar Filters X24. Save, and then let's use it. Gotta wait for the drones to construct it. And we also want to hook up the other ends here. So do this. Get a little bit closer. Wait, that's producing Casimir crystals, right? What's making my... Oh yeah, processes, that's what I need to import, not Casimir crystals. Well, I do still need them, but... that's alright, yep, cool. Okay. That's that bit done. Now we want our proliferation line. And we might even just separate it one more time from an initial split here. it up. Ah, it was the wrong way. I can intercept it before it all ends up in my inventory. Let's do this. What? How did I manage that? Alright, now all this stuff needs to come together. The quickest way seems to be from this particular line, so we'll just tell it to run up slightly. And try and keep this as neat as possible. I said 12 rows of 12, didn't I? How did I think I was done here? That's not 12. That's half that. That's not even half. Oh, it is half. Never mind. Okay, back to our blueprint. Finish this off. Actually, well, why did I waste all the soil pile? All the foundations. We're not quite there. We've only got 6 runs of it. Kestrel. Let's go find it. There we are. I used up all of my foundations though, so I need to expand this out. Yep. We'll be a bit more conservative, and we can always fill it in later for the vanity side of it. Let's just get that done. Much more efficient by just clicking the minimum values. Yeah, so for comparison, I use 3,000 to just fill in that space, and I just use less than about 100 to do that bit. Much more saving. So planar filters was my blueprint, I think. Yep. I need 3 more lots of this blueprint. I mean, the solid color definitely looks cooler. It looks more like, okay, this is a massive factory rather than some stuff plonked in the grass. So I think, in all honesty, what they could do is make it cheaper for those foundations. Because otherwise you're just, dedicating all your stone for it. For what really is kind of just a cosmetic effect. double checking. Laying this up while I'm around. Later on in the game, steel is a pretty easy resource to come by. I mean, you just set up a double sort of arc smelter setup, and then it's just the iron input. And the power, once you've got an actual Dyson sphere up and running, it's kind of not a problem. In terms of power, yes, we should have enough, and we have definitely capacity to make more if we need to. We should be getting heaps from our Dyson sphere. About half of that should be coming into that planet, I think. We also have mini fusion generators set up, so we'll see. I may eat my words there, but I reckon we're going to be okay to run this at full capacity for a while without it being a drama. These things mess with my head. They go so fast it looks like the arrows are going backwards sometimes. Alright, so that's all the titanium glass that you can see there. I've already hooked that up. And all we need now is the Casimir crystals. Now I'm going to put in one of the larger ones of these because they can support more drones. So we can fit 100 drones in there. I'm going to make it full capacity. I don't want it really to do anything else. You're going to make... Yep, you're going to demand... set power to it. I'm going to see if I can set this so that we turn power all on at once and just see how it starts handling everything. But we'll give it this a chance to fill up. Look at all the drones. I love it. It's probably like, yeah, it's literally on the other side of the planet. That was, oops. Alright. Now, we don't want to hook up the power yet. We just want to have enough power laid out. Casimir crystals coming in. This is the fun part of the game when you start getting into these kind of massive factories. I mean, all of it's fun. It's just when you've started again, then it's a little bit tedious starting again from scratch. What have I missed? These guys somehow. Yeah, I started off with a pattern and then I've just lost track. There we are. I think, yeah, we're missing a couple there. Alright, everything's flashing red. Let's switch it on and see if my power supply starts crying. Yeah, 50% satisfaction. Now that is going to go downhill, of course, once everything else that supplies this starts turning on. And the rest of my factory is also not actually running at the moment. So, yeah, we could need some more. But, as we can see, we've got all these kind of running in. And it does seem to be streaking down to the end here. Oh, I haven't hooked up half of them. Oops. How did I miss that? Jeez. Oh man. A little bit nervous about my power consumption now that I've said we're handling it easy. And then yoink, we're gonna turn on the other half. Any more power outlets. There we go. Alright. Now they're starting to fill up the belts. Yep, I thought as much. Now we're gonna need these quantum chips for a couple of things, right? It's not just gonna be for gravity matrices. We're also gonna need them for small carrier rockets later on. Pardon me. So what I'm thinking is before I run it into... Oh, these are planar filters though. Yeah. Yep. Alright, I was thinking of storing them up, but I don't think we use planar filters for anything but... Oh no, we also need them for plane smelters. So the next one up. Of course, I also need unipolar magnets and some other cool things to do that, so... Yeah, probably not worth storing it. That'll be just a separate project sometime. You ready full? Yep. We're in power. Oh yeah. We're burning up the power. Let's go fix that now. So our options are to expand out our fusion power plant wherever that is, over here. Yep. Which is relatively small. It's going to produce 18 megawatts a pop. Or, because our Dyson sphere will always be expanding, we could just expand out what we're collecting from the sphere. What's the shortcut again? Y. So we're currently requesting 139 megawatts of the 1.34 gigawatts. Yeah, so that just seems like we're just not taking advantage of our Dyson sphere at all, or our solar swarm that we've got up in orbit. Let's go fix that now. We want them sitting up at the poles. Now, this planet is a little bit inconvenient in that it's got an odd axial tilt. So, I don't know how to display this properly. There we are. So, here's our nominal plane, and then our Earth planet is kind of skewed like this, which is actually how, you know, Earth does it as well, but it means that we don't have static poles. So these sometimes run out of favor, if you will. What's this doing? Oh yeah, it's producing these. Good for it. Not even sure it needs all that much iron input. Okay. So we'll just increase our increments. Like so. Yeah, I mucked this up whenever I placed it originally. Let's fix it up now. Autosave. Yep, getting worse. Yep. Make best use of our polar region as possible. Can I reduce it slightly? Yep, only slightly. Okay, that should help with our power a fair bit. Once it starts requesting or gets up to a certain level of efficiency. There's a sun over there. And we're currently now requesting about a quarter of it. So, what's this gonna do? Just thinking if we run graviton lens, I don't think I can yet without further research. Planetary ionosphere utilization. Yeah, and then they can use those graviton lens to produce more power. And eventually we get up to antimatter production. And then burn the antimatter in artificial stars. Alright, so that'll improve things a little bit though. Currently we're at... Yeah, it's definitely improved things. Let's go head to the other pole. I actually don't know the answer to that question, whether or not it's on a... yeah, so for those watching later, the question is if the swarm radius was bigger than the planet orbit, would that expose the polar region better? And the answer is I don't know. I don't know if it works on a direct line of sight to the star, or if it works on a direct line of sight to any part of the Dyson sphere or Dyson swarm, which would mean that if you just made your Dyson swarm kind of like a ring this way, so to speak, or a couple of rings that way, whether or not that would mean that we can beam power pretty much continuously. I do know that when the Earth is behind the gas giant, which this didn't used to happen, but it does now, when the planet's behind the gas giant, the gas giant will occlude things and it will no longer collect power. So they improved that sort of bit of realism, but I'm just not sure what the actual what the game says about how it actually gets that. Oh yeah, there's a thing there. How it collects it from the star, so to speak. I mean, I'm gonna have to troll through some patch notes to find that out at some point, but it will be worthwhile finding out. In the meantime, I typically just put it at both ends of the poles. And then, yeah, So these guys, you can see they're getting some power because they've got a little bit of line of sight. You know what? Let's do an experiment. Let's add an orbit. We'll do it in this sort of perpendicular way. Make it a too close to a planet's orbit. Yeah, right. Put it at the same sort of thing, but run through it. Actually, a little bit closer in. No, outer. There we are. I don't know if they've got collision happening or not. Put it at this sort of inclination as well, and create it. Alright, so then I just need my EM rail ejectors. My shooty things to shoot some of it into that new orbit. And what we'll do is just dedicate, say, U to it. This row. Oh, really? Yeah. To the new orbit. Oh, we're out of... Well, I shot a couple into space. So, if there's any power coming to these other guys, then we'll know. Based on the line of sight to where that new bit of swarm is. So the new bit of swarm is up here. So this should technically have line of sight on it, and it's not generating any power at the moment. These guys are, but they do have just line of sight to this thing. Now it could be that there's just not enough solar sails though. So we won't write it off just yet. But I'm skeptical as to it making a difference. Where were we though? Alright, so we've made our massive planar filter factory. I kind of feel like I want to continue on here a little bit further than I initially intended to just get those quantum chips being built. So I'm going to go pick up some more foundations. Now, we were saying that we're going to make 48 of these factories, I think, or 36. Hang on. What was the deal? We had made... I wrote it down. I swear I did. I think it was 36. That didn't seem like an unreasonable number of these things to make. Sorry, water. Okay. Do 6 lines of 6. Yeah, let's do 6 lines of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. like so. I don't need to use splitters, but I am going to use splitters. Oh, actually I've got an idea here. Do that. No, wrong. Do that. Do that. Oh god, I've just made it hard for myself. These angles. Alright, so that's all wrapping up. Go into this. And then we can do like so. And do this one like so. Now this is going to be coming into from one of these guys here. A bit to the north actually. Like so. You're going to be with that, and you're also going to collect those quantum chips. Our output is going to go along like this. Going to have a second rung one going like that, and then this can go up. Maybe not quite there then. Now your output will need to go like that. And then we're just going to take a snip of this. Not quite that. We are. Now, I'm not expecting to use this very often. So I'm just going to do like that. That should be the pattern that we want. So then we just need to copy these down to the right places to split. probably the majority of this game is dealing with the belts, basically. Like that, like that, like that, like that, and then like that. I'm gonna go output like that, output like that, output. Getting close to quantum chips, yeah. Down to the ground and back in. Then input, output, input. We're reducing quantum. Actually, we might as well set this up so it is remote demand. Not doing anything locally. Oh, whoop. Hang on. Remote storage, local supply. For the order, we want remote demand there. Local storage. Now we are going to want some of these of its own. Power here. You are going to be making quantum chips. Let the processes start coming in. Alright, so every 6 seconds it's going to need 2. Therefore, every 3 seconds it's going 1. With 36 of them, then it's 12 a second that it should be inputting. And that's what we should be producing from our 144 over here. It's 12 a second because every 12 seconds, yes. Again, just double checking my math here. 12 times 12, 144. Yep, so that all makes sense. So, let's switch it on. If I put it here, let's try and do what I was trying to do, but failed before. Which is switch it all on at once. Nothing. Oh, boom. Yeah, milestone. So it's keeping up with everything at the moment, of course. But a good deal of that is simply because this is all backed up at the moment. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I proliferate this before it even leaves the processor planet. Good. Thinking I was missing a trick there with proliferators. I could have. Ah, these are producing 20% extra. So I didn't need 144. Not with proliferators. Or if we look at another way, I could do 20% more quantum chips with the same amount. So 20% of 10 is obviously 2. I've got 36 of those, so that's 6. Do another run. Could do another row of what we've got outputting here. We're going to do that. Oh, just landed in a drink. Oops. So I really should have kept that blueprint, hey. I think what I did was that. Yep. Use it now. Drop it there. Connect it up like so. Even more quantum chips. So 42. No Douglas Adams joke intended. Now the one thing that I'm not doing, which is a little bit stupid of me, and I should fix it straight away, is proliferating all this. I'm not proliferating the output, and I should do it before it even gets transported anywhere. So we'll cut it there. Let's pretend that doesn't exist. Tell it to get down to base level as soon as possible. Put our proliferation station there. And then I thought I had the right one. Oops. Yeah, that's right. Oh, damn it, I've done it again. Much better. Excellent. I'll start filling up. We'll have quantum chips for days. I don't know how it deals with the mix of proliferated and non-proliferated. If it's keeping track of it, or if it's just trying to work out an average once it's filled up or something. Hoping the average, because if it gets to full before I use any of it, then the average would be that it would be double proliferated. Although if it's an increasing average and it just nulls it each time, then that would be... Oh no, there we are. See, we're getting a tick against it. Cool. I'm just going to dump that in there. And for you, I'm going to dump that in there. Alright, yeah, we're starting to see this start taking some strain, which is good. Strain is what we want to see. We also want to keep an eye on our power. Plenty of that, good. happen is that this is just basically a constant, almost kind of scattered line in. Is where we should get to. I could make T3 ones of these. Carbon nanotube. I don't have too much of that set up at the moment. Probably not worth it. What's it get to though? Extra products, 25% versus the 20% here. You don't really see the point here. 5% is not that much of an incremental value. Unless you're doing really, really expensive stuff. Kind of like these guys, right? Maybe something like these carrier rockets where it's worth probably getting the quarter extra. Something to think about. But yeah, we are easily keeping up at the moment with our planar filter consumption. Starting to drain this belt, and it's starting to drain this one as well. These are all good signs. It's already drained this one because that's got priority. So now we're starting to see some gaps run down. Not too many though. Probably should mean that our Casimir crystals are all starting to run a bit more now as well. Yeah, we've got a supply line starting to happen. Oh yeah, this is definitely pulling in something. Hydrogen. Saying, give me all your hydrogen please, we're using tons of it. Should also be using a fair bit of yeah, graphene's coming in as well. I would have thought that it would be supplying its own hydrogen though. I click on this, yeah I can, good. Remote manage somewhat. Yeah, I set it to local demand as well, so this other one over here is supplying it. And it's the one setting up the ships to top up. Given that that's our main deuterium production supply line of hydrogen, I'm not sure that's a healthy sort of setup, so we might just set you to local storage. And you can send off your own ships to go get your bloody hydrogen. We might end up supplying it with warpers to get there. Because it might, our local gas giant might run out. Not sure yet. Either way, let's get back to where we were as well. Alright, have we drained this line yet? Still got a bit of backlog. We're about halfway there. Yeah, starting to run out down this bit as well. Good, 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 good. Now the only time that this should run out of Casimir crystals will be if we're in serious trouble at the Casimir crystal factory, because we have a big surplus here and it's not running it down all that much. And how are we going on titanium glass? Yep, so we are definitely running down our glass supplies, that's good. Our spray painters are keeping up, which is also good. decent amount of glass production and clearing that backlog as well. This should be exactly, no, it won't be exactly equal. Actually, we've got proliferators on the line, so we're producing 20% more than we actually need. But it means we won't run out as long as that continues to be supplied. Pretty happy. This is some good progress. And we're not running out of power too, which is a bonus. Oh, let's go check on our polar experiment. Alright, so everything at the bottom pole is now switched on. It is kind of pointing at these though now. So which way is my polar axis kind of spitting? Up this way. Now it should be blocked by the gas giant. The actual sun's behind the gas giant, but it's still presumably getting power from this point. Thank you, Kestrel. Right. It is still getting power. Huh. It is in line of sight of this over here now, and I know from an earlier stream that we definitely had power being blocked through the gas giant now. Let's head up to the north and just see if it's just a change in the axial tilt. These guys are all continuously receiving as well, and they have been for some time. So it could be that there is an actual benefit to the tilt of your Dyson swarm, in that you can keep both poles continuously receiving power, or at least for longer. Nice work, Kestrel. That was a good question. Okay, so what's our plans for the next thing that we need to do? So now that we have our quantum crystal of quantum processors, yeah, look, it's starting to run out now. Will it turn off though? Or are we just gonna keep it just in time supplied? That's a good question. Anyway, plans for next thing that we need to do. So, gravity matrix was the big plan for using these quantum crystals, so I can continue to research. Also, as a more effective way of making a lot of space warpers rather than just the graviton lens straight to space warper conversion. Now, to do the other half of this, we do need graviton lenses, and at the moment the ones that I've got being produced are really just kind of dedicated to producing those space warpers. So to make more of them, I'm going to need more diamonds, and I'm going to need more strange matter. Now, I've got a very, very small kind of strange matter set up over here. So I should just go into orbit to get there. There it is. So it's, you know, relatively tiny. It's producing some, enough to, you know, really get us off the ground with warpers, but it's not huge. And we're going to need large amounts of strange matter to produce large amounts of graviton lenses. So I feel that strange matter production or mass strange matter production should be our next project. We could kind of sprint and just use what I've got to kind of cheese it a little bit. But we have been letting this kind of work quietly in the background. This takes ages, by the way, because I've only got one factory of frame material feeding it to produce a heap of miniature particle colliders. So that is what's going to be producing our strange matter, and we're going to use all 40 of those to produce it. I'm pretty sure that these don't have any other use apart from making deuterium as well, so let's just double check that, see if we need them for anything else. So the recipe is available, yes, strange matter and deuterium, and it doesn't do anything else unless it happens later on. Actually, yeah, later on I think it will do something different in regards to antimatter, but that's a while off. So we need some space to do this, because 40 of these is a big guys, and then also some space to lead it into graviton production. I'm thinking this area here will be ideal for it once we get rid of all this old power production. So we'll start just clearing this up. I'm going to be kind of careful because I do have belts around in this area that I don't want to delete. So we're like in the beginning of this episode, we're just dismantling our old power network, and we'll be relying on more powerful means of producing power. How are we for time as well? It's about 9:30 at night locally. Actually, you can see down here. Gonna lay out a quick plan, but I don't think I'm going to complete this tonight. I think that is strange matter production is going to be tomorrow night's episode, or possibly sometime on the weekend. Thinking tomorrow night, Beholder 3 is a new game that is coming out. It's set to be released tomorrow, and I'm planning on buying it. And it looks kind of interesting. The graphics look almost very This War of Mine sort of ish, and I want to give it a go and just have some fun playing something other than just Dyson Sphere program. That does not mean that I will be abandoning this at all. It just means that I'll be taking a short break to play something else, and then we'll be going straight back into this series. So, because I'm having fun with this, doing more massive factories than I've ever done before in this game, and it's good. Yeah, these guys are chewing through the hydrogen, but not running out, which is the critical thing. Alright, so quick plan for laying down strange matter factory. We will need a deuterium input, so that will come from over this direction. So about here. And then we just quickly lay out these factories, right? I can probably do it in the same manner that I've done it here. We give it a bit of a gap to allow for some spaghetti for the inputs. So that might be necessary. What do I need for I need 3 things, don't I? Yeah. Deuterium, pink dumbbells, and iron. Yeah, should allow for some spaghettification. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I can fit 8 aside just. That's going to decrease as I head down towards the southern pole. One, 3 for our inputs. And then 1 for the belt, 1 for the power. Oh, look, it's already happening. I think that's only 7, isn't it? That's because I started too soon. Whoops. So, just scared of running up against that belt, apparently. Yeah, that's a bit better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's still 7. But we can use this kind of gap for our spaghetti machine. And then we're going to need a gap of 3, so 1, 2, 3. Ah, the saving thing, no. Alright, that gives us another lock of 8. Go down to here next. Start off on this side again. So 1, 2. Wait, that's going to be... I need a 3 gap. A 3 gap because they're both going to need outputs and are still going to need power. Unless there's some kind of clever place to put power in between them. Oh, there is. They're not all the time though. There is here, there is not here, and there is not here. Alright. Come on, let's get this laid out. Okay, so we'll do it from this side because that's right, we were running out of. So 1 for belt, 2 for belt, 1 for power. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, no! Why? Why did you do this to me? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I need 3 gaps. Need 3 gaps at all times. One, 2, 3. Got 8 left. So 1, oh, 1, 2, 3. That does it. That will be our strange matter section. Excellent. So what I'm planning here is that I'll run everything I need out from the tower and then run everything back in again. So we'll have essentially iron, we'll have pink dumbbells wherever you are, there we are, and deuterium. And then we'll run strange matter back into it to be transported off to wherever we need strange matter. I could try and make our graviton lenses down further south, but I don't really like building near the poles if I can avoid it. That just gets a little bit finicky. So we'll end up... Why can't I... Let me jump. There we are. We'll end up building it maybe or somewhere along here or something. Could have just done this really, because we've got all these empty areas. Like that's a giant sort of empty area here. Ah, our old green motor factory. point, I could just run it across. Ooh. I could do that. Make our old green motor factory our Graviton's lens factory instead. And then that would keep us close to a supply of diamonds. That would be good. Because I'm planning on importing diamonds there. Alright, I just went all that way for nothing. So yeah, we will run our strange matter across here and into this big empty area here, which used to be a green motor factory until we moved it off planet. We mined out all the iron that was up here. Let's still got a copper run here. Okay. And that can become our Graviton lens factory instead. Yeah, because this should have diamond as a remote demand and local supply. I'm not importing diamonds because I'm not building it off-world at the moment. But there is a whole heap of coal in Merfac on the America Wants to Invade planet. There's tons of it. I know you can't see here, but there is heaps and heaps. So yeah, we'll import coal from there or diamonds from there, export from there, and then push it into our Graviton lens factory, as well as give a more stable supply from the ones that are being produced out of this one. Because it is also not only running into these Graviton lenses, but also into our spray paint factory. And we want to make sure that they're okay. Speaking of which, I'm thinking we should upgrade these while I'm here. Just because as you know, the demand's only ever going to increase on these things. Okay, so that sounds like a plan to me. Once we have our additional Graviton lenses, so next Dyson Sphere stream will be to get this running for strange matter, run it across, start production of Graviton lenses over here, and then once we have those two things, we will just set up the final parts to be making our green science and get our research back on track. Which means that we can start researching the ionosphere utilization to amp up our power production from our Dyson Sphere. We'll put in the photon spotlight mining technology, because that will be quite useful as long as, well, basically mining special resources. I've been told that this is really useful for them when you've got a limited number of veins but you want to get a lot of output. So advanced miners, and then all these other goodies here as well. So in particular, speeding up our drive engines so we can get around a lot faster. I'm going to need white science for this one, I know, but that means antimatter and it's a while off. But even just an extra 3 AU a second is a whole chunk when you're going between stars. Also, universe exploration at the top tier will be really useful too. So we might even activate that first, just so we can find out where that those special miners will be, or optical grading crystals are, to be able to produce them. And then we'll probably enqueue that on next. Then we'll go with planetary ionosphere, then mecha core. Let's queue it up now, so as soon as we've got it, we're kicking into gear. Drive engine is what I think I said before. Bit more energy circuit so that we can go further. Faster drones are always useful. and probably veins utilization sooner rather than later as well, just to expend out our resources faster. That's the plan. And with that, I'm going to say good night. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate everyone who does. It is really good. If you did enjoy, feel free to drop a follow. That I really appreciate it. That's all I'm asking for. If you're watching later on YouTube, subscribe, like. If you want to see more. If you don't do those things. It's okay with me. Otherwise, thank you again for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next episode of Dyson Sphere program. Good night, Kestrel, and thank you for watching throughout most of tonight's session as well. And yeah, catch you guys later.